Every country. I used to go through that. Every time I get a different almanac, that's what I looked at. Who was we giving money to, and why is we giving these people money? They never did nothing for us. But
Nope.
are they even on our radar?
We're paying for everybody's medical. We're paying for everybody's war material. We're paying for everything with our blood,
Yeah.
sweat, and tears. Yeah.
But we ain't paying for it uh, willingly. We paying for it under duress
Yes. Yeah.
because we being misled in our financial philanthropy. We being misled by bankers that's promised to pay these people this after their wars.
The Gestapo, the same people
Yeah,
bombing up the Middle East right now. Yeah.
right. So you notice that as long as the Gaza Strip situation is going on in Ukraine. They
Hmm.
not fighting for Gaza. They fighting for the Ukraine.
Of
That's
course, because
Khazaria. That's their real
that's their real
homeland.
home. But they taking they're taking plane rides of the Ashkenazi are flying over to Ukraine, and while they're telling us that we're bombing up, Russia's bombing up Ukraine, it's actually a front because all they're doing is reestablishing their own home, their old homeland that they wanted to return to all this time.
The problem is that Putin won't let the Khazarians that's in the West Bank come back to the Ukraine. He won't allow it because he know who they is and what they do.
Mm,
So this what the war really about.
mm,
That's why they both going on simultaneously because it's the same freaking people,
hmm.
and it's all financed out of Switzerland.
The quiet town that no one touches.
And the Vatican signs the check for them. That's why they protect them.
Mm.
Pope's Hancock got to be on the check. That's why he had to issue the papal bulls that they wrote for him. The unum sanctums that enslaved the world.
Why do you think they mentioned him as being partially Haitian? What do you think that identity theft was about? Because remember, bloodlines matter. So if they're trying to link him specifically to Haitian, which Haiti has some of the largest US bases in the Americas, and no one knows why, because they have all the resources of the vibranium, this type of alien material, metallic material that they don't know where it came from, and all these bases are in Haiti. But why do you think they're linking him specifically? What do you think about that?
It's okay. So they came over here to get a drop of blood
Mm,
in the great melting pot.
mm,
The prophecy is that the last pope would be a brother,
mm-hmm. Yes.
but they didn't say you wouldn't be able to recognize him as a brother
Woo!
because he got his one drop. Now
That's the
he don't
rule.
just tie to Haiti alone.
Oh, no, no, no. He's got
Because
several drops of other bloodlines.
his people came from Haiti and rested in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Then migrated to Chicago, to the South Side, the same Inglewood district,
Mm.
right? So now one of what we would call back in the day Hoover's boys is the Pope.
Mm. What?
But that could only be true if you've seen like rappers performing at the Vatican.
Mm-hmm.
Then there might have some validity to it. Oh shit, the clips. I forgot. Did
Wow.
you see the clips performing at the Vatican?
No, no.
Yeah, yeah. About a week ago.
Holy cow. Wow.
The clips performed at the Vatican. You know they got a video floating around of the Pope crip walking.
Stop. They're not like us. They're not like
I
us.
don't know. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's AI, but they got a video floating around of the new Pope crip walking.
Bet you he is. Whoa. Could you imagine?
Now, I just think of how Big Mama boys behave. And yeah, I know he got a drop of blood. And I know he's a Jesuit. And Jesuits is there on behalf of ISIS.
Hmm.
So that tell me that it's something going on of great value with this Pope smoke.
Mm, mm. You
He's the
gave me,
first one. He's the first one to be born over here.
oh, you. So that's a lay of claim to the Americas, don't you
Okay,
think?
now that coincides with they just put a statue across from the Hollywood sign of a drop of blood.
Wait, say that again? What they do?
Put a statue of a drop of blood across from the Hollywood sign. It's a giant drop of blood. Somebody sent me the receipt, and went down the rabbit hole with it.
What's that
But
about?
I'm gonna send you my post. I made a
Eh,
post about it.
What's that about? The audacity. They are brazen. They're only brazen if we understand what it is, and you're about to break it down, surely. So, you know, um, hmm, a drop of blood.
Yeah, that's what they came over here for. Okay, so in these Sumerian tablets, Enki wrote the rules of eugenics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The rules of eugenics tells you how to repair defective DNA.
Yes, that's my
The
specialty.
great debauchery was people pretending to be God, messing people up in the laboratory trying to create slaves.
Yes, yes.
So the people that they created to be their slaves, we call them paleface now,
Cybernized people, yeah.
right?
Geoengineered, cabbage
Now,
patch.
now, when they created them, they denied a sentient being ascension rights, which broke galactic law, which created galactic war on Earth.
Mm,
So while we've been fighting the war under the pretense of this government versus that government, was never that. It was Enki versus Enlil and their children
a
choosing the
violation of galactic
opinions.
of treaties and right, you weren't supposed to break those contracts or create
Right,
hybridized children that had no ties to what do you consider ties to like a soul imprint or ties to they had no connection to being able to ascend out of here because every being that's soul has the ability to ascend as far as I know. A soul.
right. Well, they was creating people that if they get too intelligent, they shut down part of their body and start making it. The Stephen Hawking syndrome is what I call it.
Yes, atrophying. They start to atrophy. Yeah.
Right, because they can't cycle. Because it's a debate. Dr. Francis Welsing goes over the defect in the cerebral spinal network of the
Hmm.
pale
Hmm.
face, right? And she's in a debate, and it was on PBS. But anybody want to know what I'm talking about, pull that up. But they had a blocked channel where they couldn't raise the sacred secretion,
Hmm.
which caused their pineal glands
And
to
to shrink and
severely
atrophy.
atrophy and
Hmm.
calcify.
Yeah. Hmm.
When that,
Thus, we hear the language all the time. They're obsessed with getting the th taking something for the pineal gland. Take this for the because and they would make it seem like they put it on everybody as if everybody's pineal gland is atrophied. It would kind of like make it like a group thing when really it's just a specific group of beings that have that atrophied pineal gland, which limits their ability. They're capped with higher consciousness and the ability to ascend. Is that what you're saying?
that you
Yeah.
can't you can't ascend. You conscious, but when the ascension period come, you 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 stay back in the lower energy. You trap.
Mhm. Hypermaterialism, root chakra behavior, bestiality,
Right.
necrophilia. Yeah.
So Inky wrote that one drop of Anunnaki blood, which is the same saying one drop of black blood,
Mm,
will correct the defect. But
that's emerging.
it needed time to saturate.
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Just because they got the blood, they have to also learn how to animate the blood through arts and entertainment. That's why we wasn't getting Grammys and Oscars. It wasn't for us. It was for the ones passing to assimilate their drop of blood and appear to be something that they wasn't. Pale face.
Well, I just made a video on that, Rod, talking about make sure there's no children on the show. We're getting left a little bit. I was talking about the initiation that happens with brown men being able to sleep with lunar women. And it started with Guess Who's Coming Home for Dinner with Sidney Poitier, which was the alarm clock going off saying, okay, it's time for you to start to intake some of that DNA. And also for women, just based on my genetic knowledge, is that every time we allow a man to inseminate inside of us or take it in orally, we take on partially his DNA. And if we give birth to his child, it's even more. And I was talking about how lunar women will take on some of the aspects and attributes of brown women once they start to have intercourse with brown men.
Well, that's only once that one drop of blood is being activated. Most of the people that we think are pale face is passing.
Oh, you're right.
About 90%, if they've been in America longer than 100 years, if they bloodline, they pass.
Yes, yes.
Right,
Rudolph for Germany,
right.
the tall white alien
Now,
said that. Yeah.
be, before they was allowing brothers to touch the pale faced woman, they gave the pale faced man fornication rights by orders of King George. This is where you get your rapes on the so-called plantation.
Mm.
They was taking part of the booty issued by the king, right? Go out there and spread your seed. And they was and gave them they was letting them do the most perverse things because that's who came over here.
Well,
But they
criminal.
was
Yeah.
given permission to do it. That's why, you know, for a long time they didn't even prosecute rape
No.
because it was legal.
Hmm.
It was ordered by the king.
Mm.
It was the rebellion of the tribes that made them change the law.
Mm.
You gotta see when you see them Huns and those them women Mongolians with the red handprint on their face.
Yeah.
That's the bloody hand of the black glove.
Mm.
Silencing the women when they was raping them. That's why they do that. That's not just a something to try to say it's your culture. That's it's telling you a story.
Mm.
It's a whole story behind that red hand over their mouth. And this is what was going on contemporary with the time, and it's still it's heavy in the oral tradition. If you ask any one of them that weird can tell you exactly what it means.
Mm.
You got to remember the Boston Massacre. That's why they Red Sox.
Oh,
That's what the red carpet is. Everything I'm talking about in that post I just sent you too.
the trail of blood. Mm. Hold on, let me share it with
Yeah.
everyone.
And the first person that died in the Boston Massacre was the first blood of the righteous Crispus Attucks. That's why they got to always tell us he was first to die in the American Revolution. No matter
Mm.
what, no matter how they whitewash history, they got to let us know he wasn't no paleface. Because you got to be able to identify the first blood of the sacrifice in order to break the oath, the conjure, the blood
Mm.
oath. That was
Mm-hmm.
the blood oath was made by spilling his blood
Mm. Mm-mm.
by Scottish Rite Freemasons.
Mm-hmm.
So they wrote the secondary constitution in his blood. It's in the George Washington Masonic Memorial, but don't nobody know that the reason why it's fading brown is because that's blood.
What? Aired out oxidized blood. It
Yeah.
turns
Over
brown.
time, as the blood
Ah,
fades, the spell weakens.
wow. That's why they have to keep reinstituting new rituals and new blood rituals,
Right. That's
right?
called maintenance in the conjure.
Yeah.
Because it's for one magician by himself, he can't carry a conjure that long if he don't maintenance. It's
Mm,
only gonna last a little while. That's why when it broke down in 1812, it started another war.
mm,
We trying to stop war on the homeland.
mhm,
So the people we fighting, they bring personal homicide into our community and feed it to our children with like it's bravado.
mhm.
Now they
It's
got
really
us.
savagery and art and occults ritualistically being invocated and projected and propagated.
Look, remember they started off with cowboys and Indians,
Hmm.
right? Bang bang shoot 'em ups, Western movies.
Hmm.
They went from Western movies to um, theatrical performance movies with a leading man that was macho, played mostly by homosexuals like
Mm.
Rock Hudson, played these
Mm.
dashing and dynamic, attractive men on the big screen, but all the time they was getting some dynamic and active penetration behind the scenes.
Absolutely, as of all the heartthrobs, allegedly,
Okay. Now watch how they play us now. And now while this is going on, we producing Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Huey Newton, Stokely Carmichael, Fannie Lou Hamer.
hmm
The list goes on. Stand up people that's not taking it no more,
hmm
right? Then they go from there to uh, bank robbery movies and shootout movies and gangster movies,
That's right.
right? Them movies start dominating in the 60s. When the 70s roll around, it's inner city crime movies,
In drug movies.
right? Now, in black exploitation.
Hmm.
Black exploitation was a last ditch effort to get some kind of codes to carry into the culture as it transformed into pop culture,
Hmm.
right? So, from the black exploitation movie and the gangster movies, they started giving us cops as the hero movies. Then, when we go from black exploitation to the hip hop era in the 80s, in the hip hop era, it was about family oriented
It was positive. Yeah.
shows,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And knowledge is in the music.
Yeah.
90s roll around. There's no more those family oriented
No.
sitcoms now.
No.
They all about somebody single parent
Yeah.
or struggling housewife or something like that.
Or
Doctor shows,
thoughtbotism.
yeah, doctor shows. And then now you got the boys in the street in our hood now. We not dressing no more.
No.
We don't want to dress what they used to call fly no more. We gotta get sweatsuits and all type of sweatsuits.
Uh,
We don't want to wear 3-piece suits, tailor-made suits, gaiters and Borsalinos and Dobbs. We not with that no more.
Wearing
This is
bomber
the new
jackets.
this,
Remember bombers? Yeah.
yeah, all that's the new age,
Yeah.
right? Now, fast forward another 20 years, and now look what we got. The music is trash,
Oh,
and the
completely.
gangsters is running around in mini skirts with
Ah,
pistols.
I'm sorry.
We just watched it all unfold, reviewing history,
Mhm.
and this is what we come up with.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it, the sisters is complaining they can't find a stand-up dude. The dudes complaining that they can't find a stand-up chick
Yeah.
because everybody was taught to don't stand up.
Yeah.
But
And
they
little
was taught
tolerance.
it
They remember they have short span of concentration too. That doesn't
and
help.
it was used with reverse psychology because every stand-up dude and every stand-up chick got cut down by the government
Yeah.
and classified, labeled as a criminal,
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
they was or whether they wasn't.
Or terrorists.
Same thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
In America, the biggest terrorist in the world.
Oh, they're the kingpin of mafia Gestapos. Yeah. They still doing it now. They just, they're not really hiding themselves anymore, Rod. Do you notice that? They just being reckless and because it's the end of, it's the end of a cycle. So they don't really have to hide their hands anymore. Basically, they showing most of their, other than the things that they plan in more psyops that I'm sure we're gonna see this week and next week. You know what I mean? But they're not
Well,
really
we were
hiding
seeing
too
enough.
much.
We were seeing quite a bit go on. I didn't know what to think at first, but Charlie Kirk was staged.
But that was total
Um,
psyop.
that
Yeah.
was total psyop.
His wife is a
Um,
thoughtbot, honeypot, thoughtbot, geoengineered and contracted by Willy Wonka and his League of Doom. Okay.
mhm.
I mean, they got a pandemic coming out of Arizona that they just planned as well. Coming out in a neighborhood near you soon.
And look, you know, Trump called all those generals in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what's your take on that? I heard some things. So let me hear what you heard because I'll tell you what I heard word on the curb.
Look, he was sitting there. He was like, such great generals, all central casting, great generals.
Like
And
control.
he telling you that it's theatrical, it's political satire is what it's called.
It is.
And that's why if you look at Hollywood and DC, they're directly across from each other.
Mm,
This is why that one drop of blood that came up on that hill was significant because now that's called total saturation from coast to coast.
mm.
They spilt the blood in Boston and it finally reached LA.
And what you think about the federal government no longer giving funding to any of most of these tribes unless they reinstitute rights and privileges and of the brown, the original native, indigenous, Negro, black, whatever you call them. What say you, Rod, about all of a sudden the federal government taking
You
a
gotta
yeah.
remember this, Floor. The only ones that the American government was taking care of is the ones that was willing to replace us.
Woo, I know that's right. And everybody else
The,
was on the Trail of Tears.
the ones who wasn't willing to or replace us lived in poverty worse than ours,
That's right.
worse than the projects.
Yeah.
And they constantly fed them alcohol because
Hmm.
Mongolians don't do well with alcohol.
No, they have an allergy to it, which is mostly blood type
They
B.
got it's a brain enzyme in the brain that processes the alcohol out of the brain,
Yeah.
but it make them more prone to become alcoholics.
Yeah. And the side effect is euphoria. So that's why they can't, it's harder for them to stop. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.